Welcome back to our channel. Leslie had not seen Peaches for years, yet the arrival felt strangely natural, as if time had folded in on itself and brought an old chapter of life back into focus. The warm late afternoon light streamed through the tall windows of the Fairmont Crest home, glinting across polished wood floors and the delicate crystal vases lining the console table. The air smelled faintly of jasmine, drifting in from the garden where Leslie had arranged a welcome bouquet earlier that morning. Peaches walked in with a subtle confidence. Her presence both familiar and oddly unsettling, carrying a small travel bag and the faint scent of expensive perfume that lingered as she moved. Leslie greeted her with warmth, ushering her inside and offering tea, unaware that the visit was about to ripple through their lives in ways neither could fully imagine. In another part of the house, Jacob was tending to his own business, sorting through stacks of case notes and paperwork he had brought home. He had been buried in investigations lately, his mind constantly working through patterns, motives, and inconsistencies. Fairmont Crest had always been an enclave of power and secrets, a place where appearances mattered more than truth. But Jacob had learned long ago that the most polished facades often hid the deepest rot. As he organized the files, his attention drifted to the sound of voices from the hallway. It was Leslie's bright tone at first, but soon another voice emerged, softer, slightly hurried, carrying a tension that made his instincts sharpen. He could hear Peaches speaking, her words slipping between casual pleasantries and something far more guarded. Jacob wasn't intentionally eavesdropping at first, but his training and curiosity made him pause when the conversation shifted in tone. The subtle creak of the floorboards under her steps indicated she had moved further from Leslie, likely stepping toward the front veranda or the quiet corner near the library to take the call. The way she lowered her voice suggested she didn't want anyone else to hear. Jacob strained to catch the words, his mind automatically filtering through ambient noise until the fragments began to form a coherent thread. Peaches was speaking to someone who never responded audibly, at least, not loudly enough for Jacob to hear, but her words told the story. She mentioned June, a name that to Jacob was not just another person but a ghost from the past whose disappearance had left unanswered questions and fractured lives. The way Peaches spoke was chilling in its certainty. She knew exactly where June had been, years before anyone else could have found her, and she had chosen to bury the truth deep. As Jacob listened, the details fell into place like a puzzle he hadn't even realized he was working on. Peaches described accepting a substantial sum of money to keep her silence, and the source of that payment was unmistakably tied to someone powerful within Fairmont Crest. The influence and reach of this unnamed figure were well known in hushed conversations and veiled warnings. Their ability to make problems disappear, or people, was legendary. Jacob felt the weight of the revelation pressing into his chest. This was not just an old friend of Leslie's sharing harmless gossip. This was a confession without the awareness of an audience, a slip in the armor that revealed complicity in a cover-up spanning years. 100 thoughts collided in Jacob's mind. If he confronted Peaches, she could deny everything, twist the narrative, or worse, alert whoever had paid her to remain quiet. If he told Leslie, it would put her in direct conflict with someone she clearly trusted, perhaps even cherished. And the fallout could be both personal and dangerous. The mere act of knowing this truth was a liability, in Fairmont Crest. The wrong knowledge could put a person on a very short list of problems that needed erasing. Jacob weighed the implications carefully. If June's disappearance had been orchestrated or concealed with intent, the network of people involved was likely broader than he could yet see. Peaches was just one piece, perhaps a minor one, in a larger, more dangerous game. Exposing her could start a chain reaction, shaking loose more truths but also painting a target squarely on his back. On the other hand, staying silent meant allowing a lie to continue festering, letting the real story remain buried while those responsible moved freely, untouchable. His thoughts drifted back to June herself, to the scattered fragments of information that had trickled in over the years. A reported sighting that was never confirmed, a letter that may have been forged, the inconsistent testimonies of those who claimed to have known her. Each piece had been inconclusive on its own, yet together they formed an outline of something deeply wrong. And now, for the first time, Jacob had a living link to that darkness, standing under Leslie's roof, sipping tea as if she carried no burden at all. The temptation to act immediately was strong. He imagined confronting Peaches in the quiet of the evening, forcing her to explain every word, every decision, every transaction that tied her to June's absence. He imagined going to his contacts, initiating an investigation that would follow the money trail back to the shadowy power in Fairmont Crest. He even imagined warning June's family if they could be found, giving them a piece of the closure they had been denied. But each scenario came with its own cascade of consequences, each more dangerous than the last. The hardest part was knowing how this would affect Leslie. She had invited Peaches back into her life out of kindness, perhaps nostalgia, without suspecting the hidden truths beneath her friend's polished surface. Jacob had always respected Leslie's ability to see the good in people, to maintain faith even when cynicism might be safer. Telling her would shatter that trust and force her into a position where loyalty and morality would be at war. Worse, it might place her directly in the crosshairs of the same powerful figure who had bought Peaches' silence. As the evening settled in, the golden light fading into the muted glow of chandeliers, Jacob remained in his study, his mind looping through every angle. Peaches laughed softly from the sitting room, a sound that might have seemed harmless to anyone else. But to Jacob it carried the echo of the truth she had so casually hidden. Her ease in the space made him uneasy. It suggested she believed her secret was unassailable, her position secure. Jacob knew the coming days would demand a decision. He could carry the weight of what he had learned alone, protecting Leslie and himself from the possible repercussions. Or he could step into the dangerous light of exposure, tearing at the web of secrecy that held Fairmont Crest together. The choice was not just between truth and silence, but between survival and the risk of unraveling lives, including his own. The knowledge burned in him, a constant reminder that in this place, knowing too much could be the most dangerous thing of all. And so he sat, the quiet hum of the house surrounding him, aware that the world beyond those walls was shifting in ways Leslie could not yet see. The balance between safety and justice hung by the thinnest of threads. And Jacob's next move would determine whether it held or snapped.